Ever get that feeling? Like some people just sail through life getting whatever they want, and others, well, we're stuck trying to even get noticed.
Happens all the time.
I've always suspected it comes down to leverage. And guess what we're diving deep into today?
It's funny you should mention that. Most people think leverage, they think big business deals. But honestly, it's so much bigger than that.
You're right.
It's about understanding the power dynamics, no matter the situation.
Yeah.
And using that understanding strategically to get what you want.
Exactly. It's not about like being shady or manipulative. It's about being strategic, right?
Absolutely.
Whether you're asking for that raise or just need your neighbor to water your plants while you're away. Speaking of, you've brought this chart to help us visualize this whole leverage thing.
Right, because it can be a little abstract. This lays out different situations. Really shows the difference between tackling something with leverage or, well, without. And trust me, it's eye-opening.
All right, let's break this down. So first up, position or status. Seems pretty self-explanatory.
Sure.
With leverage, you're the CEO, you're calling the shots. Without it,
you're stuck in that meeting room, the one with no windows, hoping someone important might listen to your idea. Big difference between having a seat at the table and just hoping someone glances at your notes.
Oof. Yeah, that's a little too real.
Right.
Okay, next up. Having something the other person needs. This one just screams supply and demand to me.
It's exactly that. Think about it. Ever been the only one who knows the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, yeah. You're suddenly everyone's best friend.
Exactly. Scarcity equals leverage. Even if it's just knowing how to fix the printer, suddenly you have the power.
Like holding the keys to the castle, even if it's just a, Wi-Fi connected castle. All right, what about this one? Influence with people in authority. This where we pull the "do you know who my father is" card.
Let's hope it never comes to that. But it does show how important connections can be. Having a network, people who can vouch for you, open doors, it's invaluable.
So it's not always what you know, it's who you know.
Often, yes.
Which kind of ties into this next one. Abilities that are hard to replace.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is where investing in yourself pays off. You develop a skill set that's unique, something that makes you stand out.
Yeah.
You instantly have leverage. You become the expert, the one everyone wants on their team.
It's like having a superpower everyone needs.
Exactly.
Okay, this is making a lot of sense. Let's keep going. We've got multiple avenues to get needs met. This one to me just screams freedom, flexibility.
It's the difference between being trapped and having options, right? If everything rides on just one shot and it fails, you're out of luck. But multiple options, you're never really out of the game.
So it's about having a backup plan, or 2 or 3.
Even better, having a sense that even if this doesn't work out, something else will. You're not desperate, you're in control.
I like the sound of that. Okay, this next one is all about reputation. Like that saying, your reputation precedes you.
Exactly. Reputation and track record. Basically, it's your brand. A good reputation built on consistent good work, being someone people can rely on, that's powerful leverage.
It's like having a 5-star review, but it follows you everywhere. People trust you, give you the benefit of the doubt, because you've shown your worth.
And on the flip side, a bad reputation is really hard to shake. Makes everything harder.
It's all about building that trust, right? Earning those points over time. Okay, this next one is interesting. Less emotional attachment feels a little counterintuitive.
It is, a bit. It's about staying objective, especially when things are heated. Think about it. When you're too emotionally invested, you're not thinking clearly. More likely to make impulsive decisions.
So, like, don't make a life-changing decision based on a feeling.
Exactly. Take a step back, look at the situation clearly, and then decide. Make the choice that's good for you long-term, not just a quick fix.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, positive relationships with key players. Seems connected to that networking idea we talked about.
It is. But it's more than just having a stack of business cards. It's about genuinely connecting with people, building relationships based on mutual respect, trust. Those relationships, they become invaluable.
So not just what can they do for you, but what can you do for them?
Exactly. It's a two-way street. You build a network of allies, people who've got your back and you've got theirs. That's leverage.
This chart is amazing. It really lays everything out in a way that just clicks, you know?
And the best part is, these principles, they apply everywhere, not just in some high-powered business meeting, negotiating your salary, pitching an idea, even just navigating a tricky social situation. Understanding leverage changes everything.
So with all this in mind, how does this play out in the real world?
I'm glad you asked, because I've got a story It perfectly illustrates how understanding and using these leverage points can completely change the game, even when the odds are stacked against you.
Well, you can't just leave us hanging like that. Tell us everything. All right, lay it on us. What's the story and where does leverage come in?
Picture this. A tiny tech startup, brand new, totally unheard of. They want to partner with, wait for it, a global tech giant.
Okay, already sounds like an uphill battle.
Right. Classic David and Goliath. The startup, they need some serious leverage just to get in the door.
So what's their secret weapon? What do they have that a giant would even be interested in?
They've developed something pretty incredible, an algorithm, but not just any algorithm. This thing could analyze data in a way no one had even thought of, way ahead of the curve.
And the tech giant, they're known for, being data obsessed.
You got it. Data is their bread and butter. So naturally, they're interested.
Okay, so the startup has that, something the other person needs, but how do they actually use it?
They get clever. They don't just walk in demanding $1 million, right? Instead, they use their network. Turns out one of the founders used to work with a guy. Now he's high up in the tech giant's R&D department.
The power of connections strikes again.
Exactly. They bypass all the gatekeepers, go straight to the source.
Smart move. So they get the meeting, but then what?
They don't just talk about the algorithm, they show it in action. Live demo, full potential on display, how it can totally revolutionize the tech giant's whole operation.
So no smoke and mirrors, they're proving themselves.
Exactly. That's how you build credibility.
Yeah.
You show, not just tell.
Reputation and track record in action.
Now, here's where things get interesting. The tech giant, they're impressed, but they still want the upper hand, so they lowball the startup. Throw out an offer that's, well, kind of insulting.
Oh, I bet that was tempting to just say yes to, though. I mean, it's a huge company.
Right. But here's the thing. The startup founders, they know their worth. And they've been busy. Cultivated other options, potential investors, even competitors sniffing around. They're not married to this one deal.
They've got options. They're not desperate. That's leverage.
Exactly. And because they're not emotionally attached to just this one outcome, they can walk away.
That takes guts, man, to walk away from something like that. So what happened?
Well, the tech giant, they realize they're not dealing with some naive newbies. These guys know the game. So guess what happens next?
They come back with a better offer.
A much better offer. The startup, by understanding leverage, they completely flipped the script, turned a bad situation into a win.
That's an amazing story. It really highlights how important it is to know what you're worth. And to build leverage, it's not about being ruthless, it's about being smart.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Leverage, it's a tool, and like any tool, it can be used in the right way or the wrong way. It's not about taking advantage, it's about creating a win-win.
Love that. Okay, so we've talked about the theory, seen it play out in a real situation. Now let's get practical. What are some things people can do to start building their own leverage? Give us the playbook. How do we actually start building leverage? What can people do, starting today?
It really starts with your mindset, you know? Remember that abilities that are hard to replace thing. That's key. You got to figure out, in your world, in your job, what are those skills that everyone needs, the ones that are in high demand? And then become the master of those skills.
So not just oh yeah, I'm pretty good at that. More like, I wrote the book on that. I am the expert.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get specific. The more niche down you are, the more valuable you become.
Yeah.
Think about it. You need surgery. You want a general surgeon or someone who specializes in exactly what you need.
Right. I want the expert. Okay, that makes sense. But what about those of us who, maybe aren't trying to climb the corporate ladder? How does leverage work in everyday life?
Oh, it's everywhere. Think about something as simple as, dealing with your internet company. Let's say you want a better rate. If you've got offers from other companies right there, that's leverage. You're not stuck.
Multiple avenues.
Exactly. You did your research, you have options, you can walk away. That changes the conversation.
So much of this is about not being afraid to walk away, isn't it?
It is. And look, leverage isn't just about contracts and salaries. It's about relationships, too. Let's say things are crazy at work. You're drowning in a project. Having good relationships with your colleagues, that's huge.
Because they're more likely to help out.
Exactly. You've been a good teammate, a supportive colleague. They're going to have your back.
It's like you're investing in those relationships, so they're there when you need them.
It's all connected, right?
Yeah.
We help each other out. And when you approach things with that mindset of collaboration, of mutual benefit, that's when you really start to see the power of leverage.
This whole conversation has been eye-opening. We've covered so much ground. Any parting wisdom you want to leave us with?
Just remember, Leverage isn't about being sneaky or manipulative. It's about being aware, understanding the dynamics, and using that knowledge to create a win-win. It's about empowering yourself in all areas of your life.
I love that. It's about taking control, creating the life you want. This has been fantastic. As always, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Now go build that leverage.